Welcome to Real Deal. I'm Jazelle.
And I'm Terra.
And today we are reviewing Blink Twice, the 2024 directorial debut by Zoe Kravitz.
Are you having a good time? When tech billionaire Slater King meets cocktail waitress Frida at his fundraising gala, he invites her to join him and his friends on a dream vacation to his private island. But despite the epic setting, beautiful people, ever-flowing champagne, and late-night dance parties, Frida can sense that there's something sinister hiding beneath the island's lush facade. Starring Naomi Ackie, Channing Tatum, Adria Arjona, Aaliyah Shawkat, True Mullen, Christian Slater, Simon Rex, Haley Joel Osment, Gina Davis, and Kyle MacLachlan, to name a few.
This movie has a 3.4 rating on Letterboxd, and we have a lot of feelings about it.
Yeah.
I will say, before this episode starts, we would like to issue a trigger warning about sexual abuse, sexual violence, and we'll be talking about the graphic nature of this film. Just in general, there is a trigger warning before this movie, so before you go see it, that's something to keep in mind too if you're sensitive about that. And yeah, so please, we just don't want anything to upset you in this episode, so please just be mindful of yourself if you think that those things will bother you. And there will be spoilers in this episode, of course. We're going to be talking a lot about our criticisms of this movie, as well as things we liked, but I feel like there are lots of opportunities that we thought this movie could have had.
Yeah, I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off. A lot of people have compared this movie to The Menu, Get Out, Parasite, movies where, you're going in thinking one thing, and then by the third act, the whole tone has shifted. There's a huge tonal shift, and things kind of hit the fucking fan, and it's crazy. And I understand those comparisons. I get that. I think it's disrespectful to those movies, which I think are much better. Well, maybe not The Menu. The Menu can catch it. But the other two, I think it's disingenuous. The whole plot of this movie is that you've got these women pretty much who have all just met each other for the first time going to Slater King's island. Slater King is in trouble because he has been recently canceled for something. He's issued an apology, and now he's on his Zen shit, inviting people to this island, disappearing, doing these fundraising galas. And lo and behold, he is drugging the women on these islands and raping them, pretty much. And there's this whole thing about their perfume and they're being drugged and they can't remember things and yada yada. It's a major plot point, so I will let you guys go watch it and figure out how you feel about that. I thought it was a bit corny. But that's basically this feel of the movie. We usually wait a little bit to give you guys like the full plot and spoil it, but I think that understanding the direction that this movie takes is imperative to understanding our critique. So
yeah, I agree. Tara, what did you give this movie?
I gave it a 2.5. Yeah, I gave it a 2.5, and I initially watched it and didn't give it anything because it did trigger me, which does not take away from my ability to watch a movie, let me say. Like, this is not the first or last movie I've seen with sexual violence in it, but I think I found it to be lackluster. It was kind of like all of that for what? So that's what I gave the 2.5 for.
Yeah, totally. I did not rate this movie. I left the theater feeling very unsure about my rating, and I still stand very unsure. I'm sure it would sit somewhere around Tara's review, and for the same reasons that she mentioned, like I just felt very uncomfortable with this movie's direction in a lot of ways. The ending was like very bothersome to me.
Yeah.
And I felt like it had the opportunity to make a really solid statement about violence against people. And I feel like it did not succeed.
Yeah.
It still stands unrated for me just because I still am kind of unsure about my feelings completely on it.
Yeah.
But that's why we're having this. This episode is more of a conversation.
Because we didn't like it.
Because we did not like it. Yeah.
That's very clear. We didn't like it.
So let's just kick it off with the things that we enjoyed about the movie or we could appreciate maybe.
Naomi Ackie, Adria Arjona, and Aaliyah Shawkat. That's what I liked about the movie.
Yeah.
I really liked their performances. I wish Aaliyah got more screen time. You know, she does end up being fucking murdered in the middle of the movie, so you don't get to see her as much. I understand that was obviously like very critical to the point of the movie and to the plot. And it kind of is the turning point when she goes missing. But I wish we got a little more time. It was nice seeing her. I would also say Haley Joel Osment, you fucking asshole in this movie. You had me so convinced that I'm like, damn, I really don't like you anymore. Christian Slater also. So some decent performances. I'm not gonna put Channing Tatum in that category though, because I have more to say about that, and I don't think that there was anything amazing about it.
Yeah, I agree. I really could appreciate Aaliyah Shawkat's character, and also I really love her as an actor. The performance that she did for Blaze Foley's movie was really amazing, and like I've always been really happy with the roles that she's played and the performances she's given. Aside from that, Naomi Ackie she worked with what she had.
She did.
And Channing Tatum. The only scene Channing Tatum had me in was when he was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's more because I was personally triggered
by
it.
I was personally...
I think it has less to do with his performance.
And more of just like a man's yelling.
Yeah.
Like an apology. It was like, okay, you know.
That's about it, I will say. I don't even think that on a visual level there was anything extremely impressive about this.
Mm-hmm. Kyle MacLachlan should have stayed clocked out.
Yeah, babe, we didn't need you in this one. I love you, but did not want to see you in this.
Yeah,
go prepare for Fallout Season 2, okay? Please.
Yeah.
I hated seeing
Christian
you in that
Slater role. Kind of was just Christian Slater. You know, he has I'm not saying that he's like this, you know, of course not. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying like the personality he portrays in this movie is just himself, it seems.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the things that I appreciated about this movie, I love the needle drops. Loved that. I thought that
the Beyonce needle drop was crazy. I did almost stand up in the theater
and clap.
I would love to know how much that was. Or did Zoe call her dad and then have her dad call Beyonce and be like, hey, could we get that?
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Like, how much did that cost?
I would like to know that.
Like a current Beyonce needle drop is crazy.
Yeah. What I said to Terra was like, if this would have been a playlist, if this was a playlist instead of a movie, Zoe, you would have had me.
You would have ate that up.
You know, but I think that like I was just ultimately disappointed by this.
Let's talk about why, because I feel like...
Well, did you have anything else positive to say?
No.
Okay.
Did you?
No. I thought that like this... okay, go. Let's dive in. What I did hear a lot that was positive about this movie was people said, oh, it has great messaging and it's really stylistic and like Zoe Kravitz has a style of her own. Well.
Great gowns.
Beautiful
Not
gowns.
even beautiful gowns, I fear.
No, not beautiful gowns.
What I want to really impress upon our listeners is that Jazelle and I are not sensitive viewers.
No.
What we disliked about this movie, or I can speak for myself and just let Jazelle like talk about what she didn't like too, because
sure.
We align with that. But I think one of the major glaring issues in this film is that it's giving revenge movie up until a certain point, and then we take a sharp left, and it was like the girl bossification of the Me Too movement, and I fucking hated it. It was like Promising Young Woman, and I really didn't like that. There are so many scenes where you can see Zoe almost there, driving the point home about assault, about womanhood, about, you know, a woman's desire to compete with other women due to misogyny and, you know, needing to stick up for each other. And then at the end of the movie, you have Naomi Ackie as the head of the company, married to Slater King. I'm so confused.
Fucking controlling him with the same things that he used to control her.
Like, what was the point?
Yeah.
What did you do all of that for? Because instead of that, like, you kept this man who has done all of these horrible crimes alive.
Murdered your best friend.
Murdered your best friend.
Raped and murdered
Never
your
even thought
best
about that.
friend.
Never even thought about that. Murdered and raped your best Diana, and you married him for what? I get that she was going for some kind of gut punch ending, something crazy, but like...
It was crazy, but in a really disappointing way.
Yeah. I think that the movie could have ended when the fire starts and the women get out. Movie over.
Yeah.
Movie over. She doesn't pull Channing Tatum out of the fire. Like, movie could have just ended there. Would have been fine with that.
Yeah. She doesn't pull him out of the fire. It just ends there. We don't know if she pulled him out of the fire. I would have been okay with with a very ambiguous ending. Like, I don't know why
Even a pivot where her and Adria are running the foundation, and I don't know, maybe they're doing something for women or so. Like, even that would have been nice to see them both at the table, but like,
it was just her and
with Slater a fuck ass Bob
with the FOB.
Go ahead, Giselle.
Fall Out Boy. I said FOB. I meant FAB.
Not that.
Yeah, I do have to say the same thing. Like, this isn't the first movie that we've seen depicting sexual violence, and it will not be the last. I'm typically unfazed by things like that unless it, really strikes deep. Unfazed isn't like that. Maybe that's not the right word. More just like I see it, I take it for what it is, I process it, and I move on.
Yeah.
And honestly, sometimes it affects me and sometimes it doesn't,
Yeah.
Like emotionally. But I think that this really, God, and it's really the ending. Really the ending for me. Also the use of indigenous people as like,
yeah,
it was very bizarre. Yeah, they're used as props as like pretty much the premise is that he owns this secret island. I assume a nod to Epstein's Island.
Yeah.
Where sexual violence is done to other people,
Yeah.
And these indigenous people live on this island and they know the cure to his fucking, like, I don't even know. What would you call the perfume thing? Like,
I don't even know.
A tool of abuse?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they give Naomi's character like the antidote, essentially, is what it is.
Yeah.
For them all to wake up and like none of them really like speak English or acknowledge the residents on the island, and I thought that was fucking weird. I really thought it was unnecessary.
Not to give woke left, like...
No, but honestly...
Give him a few lines. Like, I feel like we could have done more with that.
Yeah.
But it was, like, one, like, creepy smile, and then that was, like, eh.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing else done with it. It was very unused to me.
Unused and, like, really unnecessary. Like, if she would have stumbled into that room and saw, like, some sort of elixir or whatever and just drank it. I mean, this movie's so fucking far-fetched as it is. Yeah. Might as well take it there, you know?
The perfume, I said, listen, Zoe.
Yeah. It was very ridiculous.
Yeah, get it.
And I know there are lots of people talking about the gratuity of sexual violence in this movie. I don't really know where I stand on it exactly. How do you feel?
I mean, obviously, like, yeah, we definitely leapt right in there, I will say.
It was very, very...
It was a bit much.
Graphic.
And, again, that's fine. I think it's just, like, you put me through all that just to watch this bitch be a girl boss.
Right.
Like,
just to be with this man.
Just to have her Theranos moment,
that's
don't
what
piss
it
me
is.
off.
That's really what it is for me.
Just to be with the man. This man that she is so in love with since the beginning of the movie, like, smitten with, and you never see her depart from... Also, I don't know why, not to be woke left again, but, like, watching this dark-skinned black woman just, like, lose her mind over this extremely average white man is insanity. And she's losing her mind the entire movie, and then at no point wakes up from losing her mind because she marries him. Mm-hmm. I did not like that.
Yeah.
Did not like that.
I think it also gave off, like, a very, like... parasocial sort of thing too.
Yeah.
Because she's watching him through her phone and like talks to him for a second from afar.
I guess because she's been there before, and so maybe subconsciously there is this feeling of knowing him.
Yeah.
Because she'd been there before.
But she had like talked to him for like a second, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like she feels like so connected. She's like, this is all I've ever wanted, you know? Like, I've never felt accepted before. And it's like, really, girl?
Yeah.
I don't know. I had a problem with that too, but I don't know. It was more of like, okay, you chose to depict all of these really awful, disgusting things. You gave us a Tarantino style, like, murdering of like everyone, you know, like, for what?
Yeah.
For what is what I want to know.
Yeah.
And it wasn't for the ending. It did nothing. I feel like, if anything, it was just honestly disgusting.
There's a really good Variety article I was telling Jazz about, where this woman, Angelica Jade Bastian, she always has such really good scathing articles and reviews. And so she wrote about this movie and wrote about how Zoe Kravitz doesn't have the ability that it takes to make Channing Tatum look like a heinous person. And she doesn't have the lens for it. And I really agree, because there's so many shots in the movie that frame Channing Tatum like a fucking angel. Literally with like light over his head. And it's something that continues in the entire movie. Where I will say, like, movies like Get Out, you get this sense of dread. You get these little hints and these moments where you're like, oh, these characters are moving kind of funny. Like, something's going on here. But every scene of... I just don't think that the movie does a good job of that, because every scene is filmed with him kind of looking like a fucking saint. And it kind of also never ends. Like, the closest you get to an accurate portrayal of him really being this kind of monster is the scenes with the fire.
Yeah,
but that's kind of it. And, you know, when you look at Channing Tatum's, you know, filmography, I don't really feel like he has what it takes to convince me that he's some evil guy. Like, I just am not buying it. The movie didn't make me buy it. His performance didn't make me buy it. All of that together, like, it just wasn't very convincing. And I do think her overall obsession with him didn't help. I don't know. There's just so much I didn't like about this movie, but it really reminded me of Promising Young Woman, because you put me through all of the abuse on screen and then it was girl boss time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I believe that Channing Tatum does have the range and the capacity to be an evil character. But, like,
I'm about to make a name for myself.
I was literally just gonna say, but, like, Gambit evil, you know? Like,
you're just telling my habit here.
my fucking God.
Yeah.
But literally like that, though. You know, like, that's as far as I see it going. I don't think that he gave this performance his all. If anything, I feel like he was just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, you want to come with me to my island? You know, he was very, like, Channing Tatum, you know?
It was just Channing Tatum being fucking Channing Tatum.
And then he had one little evil, heinous scene.
Yeah. And then motherfucker got rescued from that shit.
Yeah.
So, he did make a name for himself. So, I guess that was accomplished. But, I don't know. As usual, we're going to tell you guys to go out and watch this on your own. Do that if you are not sensitive to that kind of violence in a film. But we fucking hated this.
Yeah, I feel like this movie could have been good.
The potential was there. I think that she was cooking for a little bit, and then, like,
there were parts where she was
turned
cooking
off the stove and, like, didn't realize.
She let the pot boil over, and then it took out the gas.
It was flat, like nothing was happening, girl.
But like, the knob was still on, and it was still running.
She thought it was Master Chef, but she only turned on the air fryer, I fear. Like, it wasn't really giving all that.
She gave me CO2 poisoning. Like,
She cooked too much.
She cooked too fucking
sick.
much.
Made us unwell as fuck.
Made me fucking unwell.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I thought that there were good conversations that started happening, and then they just really fell off.
Yeah.
I think something that I like had a picked up. Well, maybe this wasn't intentional. I don't know. But I think, like, also the, like, realization that, like, something is wrong, you know? I, like, oh my God, like, wait, I don't feel right. You know? Like, I feel like...
It was, like, immediate.
Yeah.
It wasn't hidden at all, but I think it's just the way that she framed him. I was like, girl, it's given angelic. Like, it's giving, we know that this is your man.
Yeah.
I know it's your man.
And then at the end, Kyle MacLachlan, who was complicit in all of this...
Yeah.
He goes up to her at this gala dinner that they're hosting, and he's like, "Oh, we've never met before." And she's like, yes, we have."
Actually, Richard.
Or, yeah, whatever the fuck his name is. And,
girl, you thought you ate that, huh?
Yeah,
But he still assaulted you, so, like, you didn't eat that.
Yeah, it was really awful. And, like, I thought that something would happen. I thought she'd be like, guards!
Yeah, something, I don't know.
Fucking nothing happening.
I think the police are coming over at the end, but, like, it's really
yeah,
slow.
because they showed the bodyguards or whatever, but, like, she doesn't... Honestly, you showed me everything else. Show me that, you know?
Yeah. At least Promising Young Woman has an arrest scene. Yeah. It's still trash, but at least they gave me that. Yeah. I don't know. Thumbs down. Boo. Thumbs down. Boo.
You can't convince me. No. You can't convince me this was a good movie.
But if you're a fan of The Menu, you probably like this fucking shit.
Oh my god. I have a comment to say.
Yes.
This is kind of crazy.
Okay, I'm ready.
The people that I saw rate this the highest were men.
Well, and that's where we end today, folks. We're a movie podcast. We could dive into that, but it would be another 20 minutes.
Yep. So thank you so much for tuning into Real Deal.
We'll see you next week. Or
Bye.
you'll hear us next week?
You will be listening to us next week.
Something like that.